I used to believe that love could conquer anything, that no matter how messy life became, if two people loved each other, they'd find a way through. I clung to that belief for 15 long years, until the day my husband took everything from me. My name is Elena. I was a wife, a mother, and, as I would later realize, a fool. Mark and I met in college. He was charming, ambitious, the kind of man who made you feel like the sun rose just to see him smile. We built a life together, a home, a family, dreams. I supported him through every promotion, every late night, every business trip. I gave up my career to raise our two children so he could focus on providing. That was our deal, our partnership, or so I thought. It started small, unexplained absences, phone calls he took in another room. I brushed it off. Stress, I told myself, work pressure. Then came the receipts for hotels in cities he wasn't supposed to be in, perfume on his shirts, and one night, a message meant for her that he accidentally sent to me. When I confronted him, he didn't even try to deny it. Instead, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "I haven't loved you in years." I should have walked away right then. But betrayal isn't just emotional, it's logistical. I had no job, no savings, and no plan. And he knew that. What I didn't know was how far he'd go. When the divorce papers came, I discovered he'd moved every asset, every cent of our joint savings, into accounts I had no access to. He had been preparing for this for years. The house, the investments, even the children's college fund, gone, all while smiling at me over dinner. In the courtroom, he painted me as unstable, unfit to care for our children. His lawyer dragged my name through the mud while he sat there, silent, smug. And in the end, he got custody. He got the house. And I was left with nothing but a suitcase and the echo of a life I no longer recognized. But he made one mistake. He thought I was broken. For months, I cried myself to sleep. I felt worthless, useless, empty. But beneath the grief, something else was growing. A fire I'd never felt before. A hunger for justice. No, not justice, revenge. And I knew exactly where to start. I took a job, any job, and slowly rebuilt my independence. I studied everything I could about finance, law, and corporate structure. I learned how money moved, how people like him hid it, and how to trace it. And after 3 years of quiet, deliberate planning, I found my opportunity. Mark had started a company with his mistress, now his wife. It was thriving, but in his arrogance, he'd cut corners. Unpaid taxes, shady contracts, employees hired under false documentation. Things that, on their own, were questionable. Together, illegal. I gathered everything, every email, every invoice, every shady transaction, and I built a case. Then I sent it, anonymously, to the authorities. The fallout was swift: investigations, audits, lawsuits. Within months, their perfect little empire was crumbling. And the best part? His name was now poison in the business world. No one would touch him. But I wasn't finished. Remember the custody battle? The one where he called me unfit? Turns out, when you're facing criminal charges, the court sees things differently. I petitioned for custody again, and this time, I won. The day he saw me in the courtroom, standing tall, confident, with our children by my side, was the day I knew I'd taken back everything he'd stolen from me. Except now, I had something more: power. And as the final hearing ended, he followed me out of the courtroom, his face pale, his hands trembling. And then he said the words I'd been waiting years to hear. "Elena, please. I'm sorry. Can we talk?" I looked at him, This man who had once believed he could destroy me, and I smiled. "No, Mark," I said, "you don't get to talk anymore." He took everything from me: my money, my home, my dignity. But he underestimated the one thing he couldn't take: my will to rise again. And when I finally did, I made sure he understood exactly what that meant.